Tupac Shakur had learned something very early in life. If you survived the streets long enough, you didn't just gain enemies, you gained brothers. And in the early 1990s, in a city that never slept, Tupac found someone who felt exactly like that. New York City. A young rapper from California, a hungry artist from Brooklyn. Two men from different coasts, different worlds, but carrying the same pain. This was the beginning of one of the most important friendships in hip-hop history, Tupac Shakur and Christopher Wallace. The world would later know him as the Notorious B.I.G., but back then he was just Biggie. They met before the money, before the fame, before the war. Biggie was still struggling, sleeping on couches, rapping wherever someone would listen. Tupac, already rising, saw something familiar in him, the hunger, the desperation, the need to be heard. Tupac didn't treat Biggie like competition. He treated him like family. He gave him advice. He gave him money. He let him sleep in his hotel rooms. He introduced him to producers, labels, people with power. At one point, Tupac even said something that would later haunt history. "I wanted Biggie to be my little brother. They ate together. They laughed together. They dreamed together." In interviews, Tupac spoke highly of Biggie. He believed in him. And Biggie? He admired Tupac deeply. To Biggie, Tupac wasn't just a rapper. He was a leader, a voice, a symbol. But the music industry doesn't reward brotherhood. It feeds on ego, on jealousy, on silence. As Biggie's career began to rise, something shifted. New people entered the picture, executives, managers, people who whispered things in ears. Suddenly there were sides, East Coast, West Coast. At first it was subtle, small comments, small tensions. Tupac didn't want war. He wanted unity. But the streets don't listen to dreams. In 1994, everything changed. Tupac arrived in New York to record music. He trusted the city. He trusted the people around him. What he didn't know was that danger was waiting inside the studio walls. That night, Tupac was ambushed, shot multiple times, robbed, left bleeding. He survived. Barely. As he lay in the hospital, wounded and furious, his mind searched for answers. Who knew he would be there? Who stayed silent? Who benefited? And one name echoed louder than the others. Biggie. Tupac believed that Biggie knew something, that he had been warned, that he stayed quiet. No proof, no confession, just a feeling. And in Tupac's world, feelings were survival instincts. When Biggie didn't visit him in the hospital, when he didn't call, that feeling turned into conviction. Tupac felt betrayed. To him, silence was guilt. The streets began talking. The media began choosing sides. Suddenly, the friendship that once symbolized hope became the symbol of division. Tupac went to prison shortly after. Behind bars, his anger grew. He replayed memories, loyalty, betrayal, blood. He listened to Biggie's music from inside a cell, hearing success built on a foundation he believed he helped create. And it burned. When Tupac was released from prison, he was no longer the same man. The pain had hardened him. The paranoia had consumed him. He no longer trusted easily. And when he returned to the spotlight, he returned with a mission: to speak, to expose, to attack. Music became his weapon. The friendship was officially dead. Songs turned into messages. Messages turned into threats. The East Coast versus West Coast war was no longer just media drama. It was personal. Two men who once shared meals now shared hatred. But here is the tragedy the world often forgets. Biggie never publicly attacked Tupac first. He never openly admitted betrayal. He stayed silent. And that silence made everything worse. Because in Tupac's mind, silence was the loudest confession. What once could have been, resolved with a conversation, turned into one of the most dangerous rivalries in music history. Two voices that could have changed everything together were now pushing each other toward destruction. The industry watched. The fans cheered. The streets listened closely. And Tupac? He was walking deeper into a war he could no longer escape. A war that would soon claim more than pride. It would claim lives. And the worst part? Neither of them truly won. In the next episode, Tupac will fully step into the storm. Death Row Records. Suge Knight. And a version of Tupac the world had never seen before. Louder. Angrier. More dangerous. Because once brotherhood turns into betrayal, there is no turning back.